Yo, what's up, guys? Got the best subscribers ever. Appreciate you guys being here. Really do. Appreciate you guys commenting, hashtagging. If this is the first video for you, maybe consider subscribing. We're trying to bump this number up, trying to reach as many people as we possibly could. My message for you today is, how in the world did we get here? As far as the Western world goes, particularly North America, how did we get to a spot where I'm filming in June of 21, and in just 1 year, year and a half, they've stripped more freedoms from the American people than probably the last 2 or 3 decades combined. And that should be extremely concerning for you. It's why I even do these videos at this point in time. It's like at one point I started out, I was doing like the landscape videos, and they were fun, and we talked about landscape supply, and I enjoyed all that stuff. But it was like, my background is finance, my background is economics. And in September of 2019, my Instagram, if you guys are not following, maybe give it a follow. I DM and video message chat back and forth on that platform a lot, or the email list. That one's great too. I switched all my content up on Instagram to like talking about finance, talking about money, talking about how to save, how to invest, how to survive what is inevitably coming. What I believe we're coming to is a 90-year bottoming cycle. If you wanted to get a reference point, that's 1929. I think it's going to be harder than 1929. I think it's going to be like more epic this time around. I do think that the connectivity that we seem to have, at least at this point in time, which could go away anytime they want. I mean, 21 million cell phones in Hong Kong just disappeared this past year. Don't know what happened to those. Maybe they just shut off or something. Just gone. But nonetheless, the connectivity that we have, I think, is going to be helpful moving forward, and maybe will prevent a 2 or 3 decade downturn. Some would call it a depression. I just think it's obvious that we're moving there. Right now, the economy is in like a 1920s roaring, like, everything's ripping to the moon. We're clearly a financialized world at this point in time. And I don't think that that's going to last forever. I think that at some point, reality is going to hit, and it's going to be like, are we producing more physical goods and services than we produced in the past? Oh, we're not? Okay. Do we have more or less currency units in circulation? We have more? Okay. So more currency units chasing fewer goods and services. What does that bring us to? A higher unit price for each good and service. That's what's going to happen. Although, if we have a bottoming cycle, if we have this epic crash, one, baby boomers are wiped out. Run that math through your calculation. Like, what does it look like if an entire generation that's above the age of 60 and into their early 80s? I think the baby boomers, don't quote me, I think the youngest are 61 or 62. The oldest are like 81, 82, 83. What does it look like if they get knocked, if their, assets decrease 50%? What happens then? And it's not unlikely, it's completely likely that that's going to occur. And we could end up in a deflationary cycle. Well, how does our government, our Federal Reserve, what do they do to counter that? Digital dollar. It just seems to me obvious that we're going to a digital crypto dollar, and I'm going to resist that. I'm going to fight that as hard as I can. I know how they'll get people to accept it. It'll be a universal basic income. Oh, here's our universal digital dollar. You're going to get $500 a month automatically. You're going to get $1,200 a month, $2,000 a month, whatever. And they'll be able to do something called behavioral finance. And I think that this is going to bring us to a 250-year revolutionary cycle. I think that we're in this. That would be 1776. Last time we had like anything like legit. Before that, it would be the Martin Luther Revolution, where like the church and state, they separated, and then where the monarchs basically got ousted. We had elected officials, which we've seen how that's gone so far. It's also why I'm an anarcho libertarian or anarcho capitalist. I don't believe that human beings should have rulers over them. Anno being without archo ruler. So anarcho libertarian. I want you to do you, as long as it doesn't affect me, and I don't want you to have any rulers over you, and I don't want to have any rulers over me. I'm not hopeful at all that our society will realize that that's a better way to organize, although I do think it would be a better way to organize. But what I think that you need to be mindful of, I know that I'm working on actively every single day, every single week, is becoming more and more independent, even if that just looks like getting some dry food storage, like some beans, some rice, some honey. It's all you really need if you really needed it. Because if there are any crazy shortages, I'm not running out to the store. I'm not dealing with that stuff. I saw the toilet paper runs. I started stocking up on toilet paper. there was a minute where paper towels were not available, and that really upset me because I love paper towels. I use them all the time. I go through like half a roll a day. I just forget, I clean everything with paper towels, and then they weren't available. And it's like, okay, well, we're going through a period of time where we're losing the ability to do those certain things. We're losing the ability in many ways. No matter what a stock portfolio may go to, whatever your IRA, or if you don't even have one of those, whatever, stimulus checks look like great, but if you can't get an Uber on a 10 o'clock p.m. on a Friday night downtown, are you really any wealthier? And, if you can't go to a restaurant and eat on like metal silverware and plates because they just have throwaways because they can't find any dishwashers, is the economy really that good? And I just think that we're gonna see an inevitable bottoming cycle here. And I think that could create a massive wealth transfer from the baby boomer generation to the millennial generation. I see the escape hatch right now in the crypto sphere. I'm on a platform called Odyssey. These videos back up on Odyssey. And it's just like a decentralized YouTube. They can't really scrub it. They can't really take it down. They can't really censor you. And I get paid in Odyssey library credits for views on that. And I can also do certain things on that using their own native currency. And I'm like, why do we even need the dollar at this point in time? So I think it's a desperate attempt by our own officials to push us into a digital dollar. I think they might just let the bubble deflate. What that means is the Federal Reserve just chooses at one point to stop printing, let the stock market bubble just pop, let the housing bubble just pop, let all these different things pop. Everybody's like, oh my goodness, everything's so bad, employment, all that stuff goes through the roof. And then they go, hey, no problem, we'll fix it. We got a digital dollar for you, got some universal basic income. We'll see how this video ages. We'll know in 3 years, right? Well, I think it might be less than that, but we'll know. I mean, by 2024, we'll know. And I think that that's what they're going to do. And I just see the transition or migration to the crypto sphere as like, we don't need their stuff. Like we literally don't. Like there are several crypto projects out there, whether it's Bitcoin, Litecoin, Dogecoin, Digibyte, that work as currencies and work really well. I mean, Digibyte works really well as a currency. Bitcoin works well as like a store of value, which is fine. If I was buying a house or something like that and I wanted to put something into escrow, or, I was buying a big purchase ticket item, Bitcoin would probably be a pretty secure way to do that transaction. Obviously it's volatile at this point in time, but as it builds out and as it's continued, the volatility has chilled out. It really has chilled out. And, I don't see the need for the central planners, and I just don't see how they're helpful to our society whatsoever. And I want to hear from you guys in the comments on how you think we got this far down the rabbit hole to where they're literally printing trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars every single month without stop. The government grows bigger and bigger and bigger without stop. People are working less and less, building more important things or less important things. I mean, we have tech startups with like, what do we have? Like Grubhub or something? Like what are we really doing? Like planes are not flying faster, cars are not going further on gas. Like what are we really, where are we advancing? We've kind of come to this plateau and everybody's woke and insulted by every little detail. And it just seems to me like, yeah, this 90-year bottoming cycle is going to happen. And if you don't know what happened in the 1930s, it got pretty gnarly. If you also don't know what happened in the 1930s, the government shut the banks. They locked people out of their bank accounts for 2 to 3 years, sometimes 5. That's not a piece of history that's really talked about. They stole everybody's gold. They literally just stole everybody's gold. They made it illegal. Obviously, alcohol was a prohibition at that point in time too. So they had a lot of centralized control, and the people went along with it. I don't think this time around that the people are going to go along with it. I think that we're in this revolutionary phase where I think particularly the millennials are going to be like, screw this, we're done with this. And there's already escape hatches, in my opinion. And so I'll put out a lot more content on those escape hatches and how they work. Odyssey, check it out. It's pretty unique. It's pretty incredible, actually, how that's working. And the user experience is fabulous. But I just see this happening with everything. Facebook, Twitter, Google search, all of this stuff. There's these crypto projects that are popping up that are just like, yeah, you can't shut down Parler because you feel like it. Like the answer is no. And I just think that the world, particularly the younger generation, is moving to decentralized everything. And I think that that's the big opportunity. And I think that there'll be a fight. And I don't know if it'll go hot, meaning violent, or if it'll be more under the table, kind of like how things are now. Like cancel culture is in my opinion civil war, but it's chill, it's subtle, it hasn't gone hot yet, and it might evolve into going hot. But look at these different projects, look at these decentralized technologies that are occurring, because we can't have tech oligarchs, we can't have members of Congress, can't have the central bank, Federal Reserve controlling and running our entire lives. Love you guys. Comment below. Peace.